Wolves 2, Palace 0. I'm joined by Pat here. Pat, another disappointing defeat, and another, 7 losses in a row, another defeat for Palace. For Roy Hodgson, no creativity going forward, defensively conceding poor goals. What do you make of the game?
Yeah, I know, like you said, just disappointing again. And it looks like we're out of ideas. It looks like, there's no more plan B, C, D, whatever plan we're on now. You mentioned the 7 defeats. Just like when Roy first came on, he was part of that end run with Frank de Boer. That was 16 goals conceded, 0 goals scored. At least we've scored 2 in this run, but we've conceded 17. So it's eerily similar to what you saw, just lack of creativity going forward. And looks like we're just kind of out of ideas.
Well, you mentioned Roy Hodgson, so it's only right to start about him. There wasn't that many game incidents. We'll talk about them a bit later. Where do you see his future at the club? You mentioned it's similar to Frank de Boer record. I haven't got Alan Pardew, but Alan Pardew similarly, he had a bad record at Palace as well. This is 7 defeats in a row. It's unacceptable, regardless of what you've done in the past. So do you see him having a future at the club? And if he does stay, are you worried about potentially us being in trouble next season?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Pardew because I think there's kind of a parallel there where I think Pardew got a little bit longer of a leash. Maybe he stayed on a little longer than he should have because of his past, because he was Palace, because he did so much for the club as a player. And Hodgson, I think, might be kind of that same thing where he's a Croydon boy. He's been around. He has a good resume to him. And I think maybe he's making his stay a little longer because of that. At the end of the day, if this mini restart was a season, we would be relegated because we're second to last only in Norwich. They have 0 points since the restart. We have 3. So it's unacceptable. I think, we don't have to say that it has to be anything negative. I think we can have an amicable break with him. It kind of reminds me of Chris Hughton last year at Brighton, where you thank him for everything he's done, but it just seems like on the pitch, the players are done with it. We just need to be maybe a little bit of refreshing there and get a new start.
Well, there's one thing that was positive in my opinion today, and that was Tyrick Mitchell starting. We talked about it after the last game. He came to the club. He's been struggling to get minutes. What do you make of his performance today? I thought he was against a very hard opponent in Adama Traore, but he eased into the game as the minutes went on.
Yeah, quick sidebar. I think every time I see Traore play, he's gained 5 pounds of muscle. Like, my God, that guy is just getting bigger and bigger. I don't understand how he's doing it. But Mitchell, he's got confidence, man. Like that's the one thing I noticed right from the beginning of the match, from the opening whistle, that he just doesn't look like he's scared out there. He's fine diving in for a tackle. He's comfortable moving forward. He had some nice little plays. I think in the first 5 minutes, he had a good little interplay that allowed Ayew to get the ball in the box and have that chance in the opening kind of 5-6 minutes there. So he definitely doesn't look like the scene is too big for him. Obviously, it's still an early sample size, but I think we can be positive with how he's played.
Yeah, I think if he continues playing and getting the right game time, then the future is looking bright for him. One thing I'll say that I have said before is don't expect every player to come out of the academy and be like Aaron Wan-Bissaka in terms of effectiveness, because that's 1 in a billion. You're not going to get players like that. So yeah, Mitchell, I thought he had a decent game. Let's talk about some of the game incidents. Saka, he went out injured once again. He's been out injured for majority of the season. What happens with him? He's one of the highest paid players at the club. Do you see him, do you see a future of Saka at the club? Because we're paying so much money for a player who isn't playing as much and isn't playing as, and when he has played, he hasn't played at the levels he has played in previous seasons.
No, I love him to death. And it's not a personal thing; it's a business thing. But I think you got to cut your losses with him. He's getting older. He's always been slightly injury prone, but it's just been getting more and more ridiculous as the years go by. With the amount of wages you're paying with him, I don't think it matters how much money we get in transfer. Obviously, you don't want to let him go for free or anything like that, but people always get fixated on, we got to make back our transfer money. We got to make back our transfer money. Well, he's, one of the highest earners each and every week. So if we get that off the books, that frees up a lot of money too. So I think, we thank him again, kind of similar to how I look at Roy. We thank him for the service that he's done, but we'll kind of try and go elsewhere and build somewhere else.
Schlupp's out of the game. You got subbed off in the second half. What do you make of his performance since the last game he came on against? Was it against Manchester United? I believe
Yeah.
so. I'm forgetting. Yeah, he came on against Manchester United and he started this game. What do you make of his performance? And also, what do you make of the substitution of Jairo Riedewald coming off a flop whilst being 2-0 down? I thought that was a bit negative. There isn't anything to lose because you're already 2-0 down. You might want to go and give it a try, but it seems like Roy was happy with the score staying at 2-0.
Yeah, you can be forgiven for not remembering because each of these last like 6 or 7 matches have seemed like the same exact match. So no worries there. Yeah, it's more of the same, right? I mean, we shouldn't be surprised anymore. But it's you bring out, first of all, Schlupp, I thought, offered a spark that we've been so desperately missing. He has that kind of dynamism when he's on the ball. He can do things that you don't expect him to do. It kind of keeps the defense on their toes a little bit. And then you take him out for what? For a defensive midfielder. So it's just more of the same. And nothing against Jairo. I think he deserved minutes, but like not for him, maybe for McCarthy or one of the other guys. I'm happy that we got some younger guys on the bench today. Those that know me know that I'm a pretty big Nia Kirby stan. I think he deserves more minutes just based on his World Cup run. Love to see him on the bench. Love to see some other young guys, but let's maybe take it the next step for this last match and get these guys a little run and see how they look in the big lights.
So ahead of the Tottenham game, do you think, well, I guess we would all love a bit of youngsters to play at the Tottenham game, but do you see that realistically happening under Roy Hodgson, considering what it took for Tyreek Mitchell to start a game?
Yeah, not really. Last year, Luke Dreher made his debut in like the last I think it was almost stoppage time against Bournemouth, and we were up like 5-3. So, barring that, I don't think you're going to get much time. We still have, Spurs has something to play for, so I hope we keep it competitive with them. I would love to see some young guys get in. I want to know what Pierrek's done to not warrant getting more time. Every time he's gone on, he's looked electric. He saved us and got us a point on New Year's or on New Year's against Norwich. So I'd love to see at least him. I mean, he's at least been proven that he can play a little bit. But I think if we've learned anything in this past month or so, it's that we should probably not expect anything more of what has been going on.
Finally, who would be a man of the match today for Palace?
I'm going to go with I got 2 in mind. I think Kouyaté was very laudable coming in, playing out of position. I think he did a good job there. But, he didn't have a barn-burning match by any means, but I think just out of a little symbolic nature, given the young boy, I'm going to give it to Mitchell. I think that he looked like he belonged out there. Like you said, I think we've been spoiled with Wan-Bissaka. Not everyone's going to be a $50-60 million player that we're going to sell off and be this world superstar in a couple of years. But he looked like he held his own. And I think there's a sign of some good things to come. And hopefully that's a sign of what's going on in the academy down there too, that maybe we don't have the superstars, but we have some guys that can get some minutes and that can compete.
Hopefully it'll be inspiration to some of the academy footballers as well. Mitchell getting a start. Hopefully this would encourage them to work even harder and get their chances. But thank you for joining me, Pat. As always, leave down in the comments down below. Let us know what you think of the game. And until next time, up the Palace.